How are you doing today, my lazies? After the exciting conclusion of the preliminary rounds, we're diving into a much more fair comparison. Now, to spoil the inevitable question people will have, everyone in the finals, besides Dosu, beat everyone that lost in the preliminary. So this is more of a comparison of the finalists. I'll throw in Prime Lee since I know people want to know how he fares as well. I've already done a ranking of the finalists, so this is a slightly different video. This is more how would they handle each other if they had to fight, and I'll even throw in a bonus and say who I believe would have won the original Chuunin exams. So with that being said, to start off, let's analyze Naruto versus the other finalists. Now, due to Naruto having Kyuubi power and being able to summon Gamabunta at this time. Now, to make this segment short and just come to the conclusion we all know is right, Naruto claps the entire roster maliciously in a 1v1. He already beat Neji and Gaara, so that pretty much shows you the scale of what he can do at this time. Naruto already outperformed Sasuke against Gaara, so I have no doubt that even with this new skill from Kakashi that Naruto with Kyuubi outright demolishes him. Hell, even 2K Naruto demolishes him, but let me not just underestimate Sasuke fully so no one thinks I'm just bullying him and not actually analyzing the true battle between Naruto and Sasuke at this point. Now, I believe Naruto wins this matchup due to him not only being more powerful than Gaara, who was watching Sasuke in the first possession, but because Sasuke's only jutsu that can beat Naruto actually wouldn't beat Naruto. Weird statement, I know, but let me explain. Chidori is the only jutsu Sasuke has that would actually harm Naruto. His fighting skill is enough to fend off and embarrass Naruto a while, but once that Kyuubi essence comes out, Sasuke, even with his curse mark and Sharingan active, gets washed badly. Again, even 2K Naruto would annihilate Sasuke. Before someone says it, yes, Naruto would actually be determined enough to use it against Sasuke when he's trying to prove his worth. A stronger Sasuke blasted Naruto point blank with a Chidori, and Kyuubi essence healed it almost instantly. So even if he hits the first time, that's the only hard hit Sasuke gets in this fight. The rest is what happened in the valley when Naruto clapped Sasuke with that vicious combo. The only person with a slight chance to outsmart Naruto into defeat is Shikamaru. But there's also a high chance he still quits. So another 50-50 chance of defeat for Shikamaru. Temari and Kankuro get bullied by Sasuke, so it's not even a question they get bullied by Naruto, if even preliminary and forms of death Naruto are already stronger than them. The other controversial win for Naruto is Shino. There's a 50-50 chance Shino can actually beat even Kyuubi Essence Naruto due to his chakra absorption, but there is still a chance Naruto pulls a win against him as well. Moving on to a more controversial analysis, we have Neji. Now, in my previous video, I already explained how he demolishes everything but Giant Awakening Gaara, and it's even more apparent at this time as he's the only one that has shown being even with a Kyuubi Essence Naruto that clapped Gaara. Now, of course, some people will say the Naruto against Gaara was stronger because he was more determined, and all the nuances in between, but remember that base Naruto outperformed Sasuke against Possession Gaara in multiple possessed states, and the Kyuubi Essence Naruto is still stronger than 2K Naruto, either way, who is significantly stronger than base Naruto. This already proves that with Neji's arsenal, he could perform the same, if not quicker, and then lose to a giant awakening and above Gaara due to sheer size of the target. As far as Sasuke, Neji wins against him and everyone else but Shino and Shikamaru. Shikamaru would quit against Neji, but have a high chance of beating him due to sheer intellect. Shino is similar to Neji, but would beat him due to his chakra absorption being more powerful than Neji's chakra grinding, and he still wouldn't have a way to counter Shino even with intel. Shino is also comparable to Shikamaru in intelligence, so it's safe to say he'd actually outsmart Neji, if not just completely overpower him with his arsenal. Everyone else is, at least, pretty self-explanatory. Gaara is a special case now, as everyone has intel on how to beat him now. Neji, Shino, and Naruto are the only ones with a real chance at beating Gaara, while Shikamaru has shown that he's powerful enough to bind base Gaara with his Shadow Possession, so if he wanted to, he could pull an extremely high diff win and force Gaara to use his possessions, but after that, even with his strategies, he just does not stand a chance. While Sasuke bullied base Gaara, even with his curse mark active, he was still getting bullied by first possession Gaara. So depending on if Gaara is allowed to use his Biju determines if Sasuke actually wins here. Gaara wins against half and loses against half, as his fights are all circumstantial. Now, Sasuke is an interesting case, as he only has definitive wins against 3 people, which are Kankuro, Temari, and Shikamaru. While I do believe Shikamaru can outsmart him and win, it's more plausible he quits midway. I've already laid out why Naruto, Neji, and Gaara win, so I'll talk more about Shino. Before that, for anyone that really needs this, Sasuke already beat Temari and scared Kankuro into fleeing, so that's why those are definitive wins. Moving to Shino, he just doesn't have a way to get past his bugs. Aburame are highly resistant to Genjutsu. They absorb massive amounts of chakra and Senjutsu, so even if he uses the curse mark, Shino can seal it, and all of his jutsu get absorbed by Shino. His only resort is Taijutsu, and as we know, Shino always has multiple aces to account for what he lacks. So Sasuke isn't outsmarting him or overpowering him in any way. I really thought about what he can do to win, but there's really just nothing in his arsenal that could get past Shino. Moving on to the weaker finalists, we get to Kankuro. The only people he has a remote chance against are Temari and Shikamaru. The only way he beats Shikamaru is if Shikamaru quits, which is highly likely, and the only way he beats Temari is poison, and barely even that. He's definitely the absolute weakest of the finalists, even against base Naruto, and I can argue that one. He doesn't really have a win against anyone on the list, but he has potential win cons. Moving on to the guy that got wrongfully shafted out of becoming a Chuunin or Jonin, is the most underrated character in the series, with the craziest mega feats, Shino. Now, to be blunt, there's no one on this list that just outright beats him. You can argue something like Gaara is more powerful as Shukaku or something to that nature, but even that's a bit of a stretch, as if you believe his bugs can't consume the entire chakra capacity of the Shukaku specifically. There's nothing Shukaku can do to harm him. His bugs are strong enough to withstand a catastrophic Shinra Tensei. But even if we lowball him and say he got much stronger in Shippuden to such a high degree, even if Shukaku tried to stomp on him, I'm fairly confident he'd survive with no injury. The only win con I see for Gaara is a Bijudama, since even with how rapidly his bugs can consume, I don't believe they could consume a Bijudama before it reaches him. At least, not at this time. Other than that, if he uses Torin's nanoscopic parasitic bugs before Shukaku can create one, he could actually knock Gaara out of the transformation and still win, and even kill him if need be. I'm telling you, the mega feats from Shino that were shown from the very little screen time he has makes him extremely dangerous for a lot of people. His only downfall is experience, and that's not even significant enough of a downfall, as even Danzo was interested in recruiting him. On to the last two contestants, we start with Temari, the second weakest of the finalists. The only people she wins against are Kankuro and Shikamaru. She only wins against Shikamaru because, as we've seen, he quits. She is outright stronger than Kankuro, at least with one puppet, as she's his hard counter. She can levitate and attack from long range, so she stops any traps that he might set. As far as Shikamaru, the only people he truly loses to are Shino and Shukaku Gaara. As I've said before, he is actually strong enough to bind Gaara even through his sand shield and armor, so he could outsmart him if needed, but his main issue is determination. He quits immediately if he goes against Gaara, Sasuke, and Neji, but he'll at least play around with everyone else before quitting. He has no counter for Shino, like everyone else, so even if he were determined to fight, that would be the one person he can't beat or outsmart. Now, as far as the bonus I promised, who do I think would actually win the exams even if we added the Shukaku fight from Naruto? Given the way everything was set up, Naruto beats Neji, Gaara beats Sasuke, Shino beats Kankuro, Shikamaru quits against Temari, and Gaara already murdered Dosu. But let's add him in for the lulz. If everything went as planned and everyone still had the crazy fights they had in the forest against Gaara, then Temari would no-diff Dosu, like she did Toyuya, using a similar jutsu, and moves on to fight Naruto and lose badly considering how bad she lost to Sasuke. You're probably wondering why I said she fights Naruto and Gaara, right? Well, we already saw the outcome, so keeping that the same, she gets clapped by exhausted Naruto, because even in the preliminary, I still had that exhausted Naruto above her and Kankuro, and this Naruto is much more powerful, even exhausted, and actually determined. Now, due to Dosu's addition or non-addition, Temari gets clapped by Shino if she fights him after Dosu instead of Naruto. But either way, the final fight ends up being Shino watching Naruto and becoming a Jonin. Why Jonin instead of Chuunin? Because unlike Naruto and the others, Shikamaru and Shino would get promoted due to their strategic minds, and Shino actually wins without quitting. Now, looking into some technicalities, let's say Gaara is disqualified for using the Biju against Sasuke, and they end the fight with that final scene of the Sand siblings taking Gaara from the fight. Then Naruto fights Sasuke and claps him using either the 2K Barrage or Kyuubi Essence, with the high possibility Sasuke uses the Curse Mark and gets disqualified while getting clapped. Temari still gets clapped by Shino, and we will end up with the same result with Shino and Naruto, only to a much more grand degree, getting Shino fully promoted to Jonin as he'd showcase taming a Jinchuriki. Gaara still gets promoted to Jonin, while Temari and Kankuro become Chuunin, and Shikamaru does as well from the Leaf. Sasuke might get promoted due to the proctor spoiling the fact he was gonna be promoted anyway from his fight with Gaara, but knowing Naruto, this result could change after seeing him lose to Naruto in the next round. No matter how you see the matchups going, Shino wins the exams, and that's not even an exaggeration. Even if you want to take out Torina's bugs and the fact that he can consume Biju chakra and Senjutsu, he can still absorb chakra and heal himself, while everyone else has to fight in extremely exhausted states. This was a fun video to look into, and it kind of spoils the next video outcome, so I'll switch it up a bit to make it a bit more interesting for you. When you see the twist, I can't wait to see the comments. Like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to stay lazy.